Jacob sat by the window of his small apartment in London. Rain tapped gently on the glass. The gray sky mirrored the way he felt inside, tired, stuck, and uncertain about the future. At 28, Jacob felt like he was running in circles. His job in customer service paid the bills but didn't excite him. His relationships were shallow, and worst of all, he doubted himself constantly. One day, while browsing through a second-hand bookstore, a title caught his eye. The Power of Positive Thinking by Norman Vincent Peale. He picked it up, flipped through a few pages, and something clicked. The words were simple but powerful. Change your thoughts, and you change your world. Jacob decided to try an experiment. He would follow the ideas in the book for 1 month. He would replace every negative thought with a positive one and speak encouraging words to himself every day. He bought the book for a few pounds and left the shop with something he hadn't felt in a long time: hope. That night, he sat in his favorite chair with a warm mug of tea, turning the pages slowly. He made a list of affirmations and goals in a fresh notebook. One of them read, "Be the person you want to meet." It felt ambitious, but it made his heart feel lighter. Chapter 2. Small Steps. On the first morning, Jacob woke up and told himself, "Today is going to be a good day." It felt strange, but he kept repeating it as he brushed his teeth, made coffee, and walked to work. Normally, he would dread the emails and complaints waiting at his desk. But that day, he smiled and greeted his co-workers warmly. His colleague, Sarah, noticed. "You seem different today," she said. Jacob just smiled and replied, "I'm trying something new." That night, he wrote in a journal, "Today, I stayed calm during a difficult call. I listened more. I felt lighter. Day by day, his confidence grew." He started focusing on what he could control instead of what he couldn't. He practiced gratitude, writing 3 good things that happened each day. Slowly, his mindset began to change. He also started eating healthier, walking more, and spending less time on social media. He used those hours to read more and reflect. The small steps added up. He even tried meditation for the first time, using a simple app that guided his breathing. He wasn't sure if it worked at first, but it gave him a moment of peace before the noise of the day began. Chapter 3. Challenges Come. 2 weeks into his new habit, Jacob hit a wall. He spilled coffee on his laptop. He missed an important meeting. And worst of all, he overheard co-workers laughing about him. The old Jacob would have gone home and stayed in bed. But this time he paused, took a deep breath, and reminded himself, "I am not my mistakes. Tomorrow is a new chance." He decided to confront the situation with maturity. He cleaned his laptop, apologized for missing the meeting, and didn't retaliate against the gossip. Instead, he chose kindness. He wrote in his journal, "Today was hard, but I stayed true to myself. That's progress." That evening, he called his sister Maria, who lived in Brighton. She was surprised to hear from him. "I just wanted to talk," he said. "I'm working on being better." They spoke for an hour, laughing and sharing memories. That call reminded Jacob of the importance of connection and family. He ended the night reading more of Peale's book. One sentence stood out. "Stand up to your obstacles and do something about them. You will find that they haven't half the strength you think they have." Chapter 4. New Opportunities. Jacob's new attitude began to open doors. His manager noticed his improved performance and offered him a chance to lead a small project. He hesitated, but remembered the advice from the book. Believe in yourself. He accepted the role, It was challenging, but he stayed positive and listened to his team. The project was a success, and it brought him recognition and respect. Outside of work, he started reconnecting with old friends. He smiled more, laughed more, and even started going to a community yoga class. He realized that positivity was not just a mindset, it was a way of life. He met Anna, a photographer, at the yoga class. They began chatting every week. She admired his calm energy, and they slowly became friends. One weekend, Anna invited Jacob to a photography exhibit she was part of. It was his first time at such an event, and he felt nervous. But he remembered his affirmations and chose to enjoy the moment. It turned out to be one of the best evenings of his life. They spent the evening talking about creativity and resilience. Jacob was inspired by Anna's passion. She encouraged him to take up a creative hobby. "Even writing your story is a form of art," she said. Chapter 5. Helping Others. One afternoon, Jacob saw a new employee looking lost and nervous. Her name was Amina, and she'd just moved from Kenya. Jacob welcomed her, shared his own story, and gave her encouragement. Over the next few weeks, he mentored her. Amina flourished. She later told Jacob, "You made me feel like I belong." Helping Amina made Jacob realize how far he had come. He was no longer the insecure, doubtful man staring at the rain. He had grown into someone who could uplift others. He started a weekly positivity group at work, where co-workers shared good news and motivational quotes. It became a highlight of the week. They also began organizing volunteer days at a local shelter. Through these experiences, Jacob found deep meaning in service. He saw how one person's energy could influence an entire room. The group grew beyond the workplace. Soon, friends and even strangers were joining in. They held positivity walks on weekends and collected books for local schools. The effect was contagious. Chapter 6. The ripple effect positivity began to spread. Sarah started a gratitude wall in the break room. Others joined the weekly group. Team morale improved, and so did performance. Jacob also started a blog to share his journey. People from all over the world commented and sent messages saying how his words helped them. He wasn't a guru or a psychologist. He was just someone who made a choice to think positively. And that choice changed everything. Anna helped him with photographs for his blog, and together they created a space that was beautiful and uplifting. Their friendship deepened. They went on weekend walks, explored local markets, and supported each other's creative projects. One day, Anna said, "You know, I think we all need a Jacob in our life." Jacob laughed. "I think we all need a little more belief in ourselves." He added guest writers to the blog. Amina contributed a piece on courage, and Sarah wrote about gratitude. The blog became a platform for many voices, not just his. Chapter 7. A Life Transformed. A year later, Jacob stood on stage at a company event, given a talk titled "The Power of Positive Thinking." He looked out at the audience and smiled. "1 year ago, I was lost, but I discovered that our thoughts shape our reality. When I chose to think positively, my world changed." He received a standing ovation. After the event, people lined up to talk to him. One woman said, "Your story reminded me that it's never too late to change." Jacob went home that night, opened his journal, and wrote. This journey started with one thought. I believed I could change. And I did. He reflected on everything, his fears, his mistakes, and his growth. He no longer felt like an imposter. He felt real, grounded, and alive. Jacob's blog had now grown into a small online community. They held monthly virtual meetups. People shared their own journeys, supported each other, and created a space of compassion. He was even invited to speak at a youth event organized by a local NGO. Watching young people ask questions about mental strength and positive habits made Jacob realize the impact of his transformation. Chapter 8. Continuing the Journey. Jacob knew life wouldn't always be easy. There would still be bad days, disappointments, and challenges. But he had learned something powerful. He had control over his attitude. He kept reading, learning, and growing. He traveled to schools and community centers to speak about positive thinking. He met people who had overcome far worse than he had, and they inspired him. He never stopped writing in his journal. It remained a place of reflection and gratitude. Eventually, Jacob began writing a book. He combined his experiences, lessons from others, and simple exercises to help readers start their own journey. He titled it Bright Side, One Thought at a Time. Anna designed the cover. Amina wrote a foreword. Sarah edited the chapters. It wasn't just Jacob's story. It was a community effort. In the final chapter, Jacob wrote, "Positivity is not pretending everything is perfect. It's believing that even on hard days, something good can happen." Epilogue. Words to remember. If Jacob's story teaches us one thing, it is this: our thoughts have power. Each day we get to choose how we see the world. And when we choose hope, kindness, and positivity, we not only transform our own lives, we create ripples that reach others. So, no matter where you are in your journey, remember, believe in yourself. Speak kindly. Think positively. Your story is still being written, and it can be beautiful.